Welcome back to Brisbane Property Uncovered. I'm Mac Loxton from MoneyQuest Manly. Today we're pulling apart one of the biggest myths in Australian property. Just renovate it, mate. She'll be right. It's a classic tradie line. A little paint here, a new kitchen there, boom, instant equity. But if you want to build real wealth, generational wealth, you need more than tools and optimism. You need structure. You need strategy. And if you're self-employed, you need a lender who actually understands how your income works. This episode goes deeper than renovations. It's about the investment mindset, the SMSF angle, and the lending pathways that actually help you grow. And if you want to hear how a self-employed client went from being rejected by a major bank to having 3 lenders ready to back their SMSF purchase, stick around. The success story is worth it. So let's talk renovation reality. Don't get me wrong, renovations can be a smart part of investment strategy, but renovations alone are not a wealth building plan. There are situations where they make sense, absolutely. Modernizing an older property in a high demand suburb, converting a poor layout into functional spaces tenants actually want, turning a 3-bed 1-bath into a 3-bed 2-bath, or adding a bedroom, improving yield through smart upgrades, increasing depreciation for investors. All these factors can help, but renovations only work when the numbers work, not the emotions. Here's the hard truth. You can't outpaint a bad property. You can't out-renovate a poor location, and you can't out-hammer a bad lending structure. Investors don't create wealth with a sledgehammer. They create wealth with finance. When renovations become a trap, most people who lose money during renovations fall into these categories. They overcapitalize. They renovate emotionally, not strategically. They improve things nobody cares about. They DIY their way into insurance issues. They renovate to justify the purchase, not to improve the asset. They forget the golden rule. Land appreciates, buildings depreciate. Paint fades, structures age, but strategy compounds. This is why the investor mindset, especially SMSF investors, is so different. They run the numbers first. They map the exit strategy. They check borrowing capacity through the right lens. They make decisions based on return, not excitement. Renovations can support a strategy, but they should never replace one. A powerful success story, my client's story. Let me share a real example of why structure matters more than sentiment or surface improvements. A self-employed client came to me recently after 2 incredibly frustrating weeks dealing directly with a major bank. 2 weeks of paperwork, 2 weeks of waiting, 2 weeks of being passed around, 2 weeks of we're reviewing your file. And when the bank finally gave them an answer, it was no. No solutions, no options, just, sorry, we can't help. And this is the problem major banks often don't understand. Self-employed income. They don't understand fluctuations, they don't understand deductions, they don't understand business cash flow, and they absolutely don't understand opportunity cost because they just look at their policy. The client didn't give up. They were referred to me. We had a 15-minute phone call. Within that call, we uncovered something the bank had completely overlooked. They had originally wanted to buy the property inside their self-managed super fund, but their accountant told them it wasn't possible. So I went deeper. I asked the right questions. We reviewed their fund. We reviewed their balance. We reviewed their contributions. We looked at their likely borrowing capacity inside the SMSF. And guess what? It was possible. Not only that, but after reviewing their documents and structuring it correctly, we now have 3 lenders ready to support this SMSF purchase. A major bank gave them a dead end. A 15-minute strategic conversation created a pathway. That's the difference between renovation mindset and investor mindset, and between a broker and a bank. So here's the MoneyQuest advantage. This is where MoneyQuest stands out. We are self-employed lending specialists. We understand alt-doc lending, BAS-based lending. accountant declared incomes, business performance lending, SMSF lending, equity-based investment lending. And because you're self-employed, your lending should support your business, not suffocate it. That's why we also do asset finance. Tools, machinery, vehicles, equipment. So equipment finance, utes, excavators, trucks, business tech, you name it. Business lending as well. Cash flow, growth funding, expansion capital. Because wealth isn't built from one property, it's built from a structured ecosystem of borrowing power, assets, cash flow, lending strategy, long-term planning. This is how investors build generational wealth, not quick flips. So here is your cherry takeaway. Renos don't build wealth. Finance strategy builds wealth. If you're self-employed, an investor, or using SMSF, don't let a bank tell you no when the real answer might be absolutely yes. Get the right structure, the right plan, the right pathway. That's how you go from stuck to unstoppable. Thanks for joining me on Brisbane Property Uncovered. If you're self-employed, looking to invest, thinking about SMSF, or planning your next property move, reach out anytime. I'm Mac Loxton from MoneyQuest Manly, and strategy is what we do. See you in episode 4.